Welcome to From Carpool to College, a show for parents who are trying to keep their sanity while navigating the college planning landscape. Welcome to From Carpool to College. We have a special guest today in the studio. My name is Tracy Amadeo.
And Tara Horitz.
And in the studio, we have Chris Devanzo.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Chris is so good. You can tell he has his own podcast.
Yeah.
Because never, ever has a guest just taken the initiative and thanked us immediately. We love having Chris here. He has his own podcast. He is an attorney at law, and he is one of my former students.
Wow.
Hard to believe that I'm that old.
Yeah, you must have started teaching when we were like 10.
Yes, it's true. So, Chris, give us a little background about who you are and why in the world would we have you here today from Carpool to College?
So pretty much my entire life, I've been around in sports. In high school, I played soccer, basketball, and track. Played on all travel teams, AU teams, everything you could possibly think of. Then after college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I started coaching high school basketball. Lucky enough to get a gig doing that. And from that, I was like, hey, I know I want to do something in sports. I want to work in sports somehow, some way. And I thought going to law school would be something interesting. So
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, you could say that again. Yeah. So you went to law school after. Did you take any time off after college?
Yeah, it took 2 years off.
Okay, because we'll have to have you back and talk about careers in law because it is very popular with our clients, with our students. And a lot of times, Tara, you and I were just talking about this, how sometimes you're the only lawyer in the family. Are you the only lawyer in your family?
No, my aunt is a lawyer.
Okay, so you had a little bit of a spirit guide?
Yeah.
Hopefully. In some cases, we don't. You know, like we're the only physician or we're the only attorney. And there's a whole set of how to prepare for those applications, for those law school applications. But you did it, you made it, and now you're on the other side. You're a practicing attorney.
Absolutely.
What is your specialization? Because that, my friend, is what brings you here today.
Trademark law and working with athletes, doing their NIL contracts, trademarks, everything you could possibly think of within NIL.
NIL. Name, image, likeness. This is something that never, ever would I have thought of as a topic to have a sit down about when it comes to teaching parents about life after high school. So our whole premise of this podcast, Chris, is we have parents listening to us who have kids in middle school. Yeah. We have, 8th grade, hopefully not too young. We don't want to be too nuts parents, but we get it. We never want our parents to have to say, oh my gosh, I wish I knew then what I know now. Yeah. So they're listening now. They're not taking notes. They're in the car. This is casual. These are conversations. This podcast is not one of those doubling as a lecture hall of how to get into Harvard. Or, we are kind of the antithesis of that in our practice, in our private practice, academic mentoring, and in the podcast. We have conversations about what families need to know so that their kids have the best opportunities after high school. Because frankly, you don't have to go right to college. You don't have to go to college at all. You can go to trade school. You can go right to industry, to the workforce. So many options. But what you're going to talk about today, frankly, scares the heck out of me because we're talking about young adults, emerging adults, and even high school kids using social media to brand themselves. And you protect them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Gets kind of crazy sometimes, but
yeah, I can imagine.
Especially now, it's more of, hey, let's go over the education aspect of it and look at certain things that you need to be aware of and things that you really have to be mindful of. Like, it can really hurt, especially if you're an athlete, just you being on a team. Like, if you post the wrong thing or talk about the wrong thing, that might hurt you that way too.
Right. So look, I'm going to put my teacher hat on, right? So Tara and I are both educators by day. So we work with different populations of kids, different age groups. But the message is always the same, that kids, be careful of what you post online. It doesn't go away, even though you think Snapchat disappears. It doesn't. People take screenshots. But if they take a screenshot, the damage is done.
Exactly.
So we're always teaching kids to be wise with their social media. And we get it. Now we're moving on to, like, originally when we were talking to our kids about this, we were worried about, I don't know, frankly, like pedophiles, or just our kids just are impulsive and their brains are still growing and they're trying to make friends and get attention, and they just aren't thinking with those adult brains with filters on, and they're putting stuff out there into the ether, into the universe. But now there's a shift. And now social media is not new. And now it's being harnessed to get stuff.
Exactly.
To get cool stuff. And we have a new word, not that new. I'm going to sound really old right now, Tara. They're called influencers, right? And these influencers. And these influencers are typically young adults who have thousands or possibly millions of people. They're like celebrities. And it's just fascinating to someone in my demographic, a Gen Xer, that there are people famous for just being famous, like the Kardashians, which I want to throw up in my mouth every time I say it. I didn't even let my kids say Kardashian in the house. Like, I can't. And I'm sorry if that's not politically correct, if everyone loves them. But it's just something that I just can't buy into. But here we are talking about how our kids can leverage social media for an advantage. But just to back that up, and this is not an episode about college athletics, but Chris, you are an expert you have a robust experience in being an athlete yourself, in coaching and representing athletes. Can you talk a little bit about the Wild West that is now paid college athletes? And now I want you to do it like I'm talking to you like you're an AI prompt.
Yeah.
Talk to us in a way that a sixth grader could understand about, hey, when you go to college, this is what could happen. Can you just break that down for us?
Yeah, I got you.
Thanks.
So if you go on ESPN or you go on any of these websites, you're going to see, oh, this quarterback made $1 million, or this team got free cars. But there's always a backstory to it. Right. So it's pretty much broken down into 3 categories once you get to college. Now schools can pay you. So depending on what school you go to and what sport you play, they're going to give you X amount of money.
The school will? Okay.
Next is each of these schools have a collective.
The collective. Yeah, it sounds like a sci-fi
It sounds fancy.
No, it sounds a little bit like dystopian novel kind of stuff. Like, does the collective know you're here?
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
And they kind of act like that way too, because it's like rich alumni that like went to the school or have some background with the school.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I love whatever school. Like, I'm a diehard fan.
Like I'm a diehard mountaineer.
Yeah.
I should be part of that collective. Maybe I am, and I'm not telling you. Okay.
You're just hiding millions under your mattress.
Yeah, that's it.
And they'll literally give these schools or give these athletes X amount of money. Sometimes it's 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, million, all ranges. And they'll say, hey, do some autograph signings or make an appearance and we'll give you this amount of money. So that's like another thing, depending on what school you go to, maybe that collective is really good or maybe they're not as active.
How does a family find out about like the collect? I'm fascinated by the way, because now I'm comparing it to Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
where is the collective? Is there an office? Is it an LLC? The collective?
Usually it's an LLC or like a nonprofit.
Okay, so it is an actual established entity.
Yeah.
If I were to do a Google search and say like the collective for X school, I could find it.
You should be able to.
Can I find pictures of like old people on it too?
Probably.
Okay.
Most likely.
Interesting. All right. So the collective is real. They are made of human beings. They operate as an entity, and they will set their own playbook as far as how they distribute money to athletes.
Yeah, like that's when you see like, oh, a school gave the football team or the collective gave a football team like trucks or something crazy. And you're like, yeah, how? But they probably own a car dealership, and then they're doing like their own type of marketing for that area.
Okay.
So
Is it always called the collective, or is it sometimes like not masked, but like is it ever called anything else? Or
sometimes it could be like
Yeah.
it'll be like the mascot or something to do with that school
Oh,
in
I see,
some
I
type of
see.
way. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you know any offhand? I mean, we're not talking bad about them, but do you know any schools' collectives' names besides the collective?
Indiana had one because their football team kind of like came out of nowhere, won national championship. So Mark Cuban backed them big time. Once they won, everyone was, oh, it's because of Mark Cuban. Each school has their own, like Arkansas has Tyson.
Oh, right.
Michigan has someone, I forget, someone super rich. So it's all, each school kind of has like their own guy, and he's pretty much the head of this collective.
Oh, man. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fascinating. I feel like there's a secret handshake, too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There might be.
You never know.
Okay. So the school can give the money,
Mm-hmm.
then the collective can give the money. Well, what's the third one?
And then it's your actual name, image, and likeness.
And
So-
that's where you come in.
Mhm.
All right. Tell us about that.
So it's pretty much, hey, how do you want to be known as? So like, how are you going to portray your brand to everyone? Maybe it's your area, maybe it's the whole country, but how are you going to showcase yourself as an athlete plus whatever your interests are? So a lot of times you could be, I'm a basketball player that likes to cook, bake, whatever. So it's just putting that out into social media, on LinkedIn, on blogs, or whichever way you feel most comfortable doing.
Okay. So people are pretty much just branding themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they, I guess there's some thought involved,
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah.
Oh God, these kids are so young too.
Yeah.
So, but there's people like you who kind of, you can't just, there's no way these kids are doing it themselves.
Exactly.
They're gonna screw up if
Exactly.
they do. So,
And you've seen that before. It's like, hey, if you give an 18-year-old $100,000, you're not going to read the contract. No way.
no.
If you give a high school kid $100, they're just going to take it. So someone has to be there to protect them in some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when it comes to contracts, even if it's the school, the collective, or a brand that you want to work with, they put sneaky stuff into those contracts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to really make sure that you're going through it thoroughly and knowing exactly what you're signing.
Well, yeah.
So, quick question. Are there some organizations and different clubs that will not allow this? Because I know that my daughter used to ride horses, and she could not have any sponsors whatsoever if she was part of one of the bigger horse organizations, whether it's like USEF or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
right? Hunter Jumper Association. If that was the case, then you have to like revoke your membership. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's the case in some of the major sports.
Yeah,
or-
some of like the big time schools, maybe they're sponsored by Nike, but if you sign with New Balance, during games and practices, you can't wear New Balance. But when you're off, like when you're in class or off the court or field, you can wear whatever you want.
Right.
And that's where you can do it. And like they've done, especially at like the high school level, they've done a pretty good job of making sure that like your deals and the school are separate. Like they don't want you wearing stuff from all these different brands while you play.
Got it.
So we should get sponsored from Tiffany and Company because we're classic.
That's right.
Oh, my brain is spinning. Right, because if we could be influencers.
We could.
So we need
Just need to find those
coffee.
collectives.
Yeah, for what? There's no collective for us, Tara. Oh gosh, I have so many questions. And Chris, you are truly an advocate in all ways, right? So you're a legal advocate, and you're also, I feel like you've been there. You've been there, done that. Can you tell us some examples? Because I know I have people listening right now thinking, what the heck? What are they talking about? And some parents, they're not on social media. And if they are, their algorithm is not showing young emerging adults between the ages of 18 and 25 go through their day and what their brand is endorsing. So can you think about the different, let's talk about college kids for now, because that's our jam.
Yeah.
We want to get parents to think about the different ways that they can help their kids find the right college options. And we're also always about engaging and flourishing in that next step. So now our kid is in college and they, maybe they're playing a sport, maybe they're in marching band, maybe they're an artist or whatever. Give us some examples of what you see where kids are branding their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, so it's really consistency. You want to be posting at least a couple times a week just to show brands that, hey, this person takes whatever they're doing seriously. And then on the other end, it's posting about the things that you like. So if it's, hey, I play the flute, or I'm in this marching band, or I play this sport, or whatever, showcase your workouts or the songs you play or the things that you do for that. And then also maybe there's some other things outside your interest that you like too. Maybe the same thing, like you like to bake or you like to run or any other things you could possibly think of, and showcase everything. Or even if it's, hey, every Friday I go to Moe's to eat, or I go to this restaurant and eat their pizza every Friday. It's showcasing all the things that make you, pretty much.
So not just related to whatever it is that you're involved in with a sport or a club, but anything, just to kind of show a well-rounded picture of who
exactly. Because maybe one of your videos about let's say McDonald's, maybe that's the one that gets a lot of views, and then once people look at your profile, they're going to say, oh, this person likes marching band or basketball or whatever, and then they get to know more about you. So it's just different ways, because now social media is all about interest media. So it's really
I'm sorry, I'm making connections here. It's so true though.
Yeah, so maybe, hey, you might not have high school kids playing basketball on your feed, but maybe you have some type of food on your feed, and then that's how you get that connection. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, okay, mind blown.
Yeah, so it's not really curated then. It's not. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, totally. I'm trying to think what I would brand. If I had a magic wand, of course I'd want to be branded by Tiffany and Company. Coffee. I love that. I love my Lakeborn coffee. That's my local guy. Oh,
you were just drinking that.
I know. I'm mainlining it. But so how does a kid get it all together? Do you help them? So I know you have clients, and I'm not going to ask you to talk about them because I know the client, the confidentiality between, what do they call it? Client something confidentiality?
Yeah, you got it. You're good.
Counsel. I know. Clearly this side of the desk is need more coffee. But how would you help a kid and a family figure it out? Because I got to tell you, as a former field hockey coach, I have sent many kids to different schools at different levels, Ivy, D1, D2, D3, even just club at the club level at college in some schools is pretty hardcore. And
absolutely.
And what would these kids be doing, and how do parents need to what do parents need to know about this? How would you walk them through? What's your game plan? A kid comes to you hey, Chris, I'm thinking about this. What do you tell them?
So no matter what you're saying, if you play club or don't play sports in college, or if you play D1, hey, let's start with your LinkedIn.
Yeah. LinkedIn.
Yeah.
For a 17-year-old.
Absolutely. You could start when you're 14.
Yeah.
A lot of people post about their experiences, same thing you're going to do on social media. You just do it in a written form on LinkedIn and talk about your experiences, or, hey, I want to work in NIL, or, hey, I want to go to this school or have this type of career. And once you know the type of career that you want to have outside of sports, or maybe if it's even 3 things you're thinking about, go and talk to or follow those people within that industry. And then you have a better idea. And a lot of times too, people put free information. A lot of times, I'll put trademark information out there, and there's a great way to learn too.
We had a client this cycle who is an influencer. She is, I'm going to be careful. She's connected to her jam. She wants to be a sports broadcast person. She is very involved with a professional team.
Nice.
And she has her own channels. She's written really good articles for NJ digital media,
That's the way to
different
do it.
companies. And she just got into a school that she had no business getting in because her grades were way far below the accepted average. But it was because of her hustle, all the work that she put out, all of the time and energy, her webpage, her blog, her social media,
Yep.
her published articles for NJ whatevers. She got into almost every school she applied to. And I'm telling you, she went test optional and she has average grades. But to your point, it was like the LinkedIn. It was like she connected with professional athletes and professional journalists. She was invited onto ESPN.
That's
and
awesome.
she actually sat in the chair and was interviewed.
Yep.
And gave great feedback. And she's awesome. We'll have to have her on.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Because I get excited talking about her. She would come on. We'll get her on.
That'd be awesome.
But should she be talking to you about NIL?
Yeah, absolutely.
My
Doesn't just have to
God.
be
You got to protect her.
And even too, it's like not even just athletes too. It's like I've seen it on the legal side too. People post while they're in law school about whatever type of law that they like. They do the same thing. They make the videos, they write the blogs, they do all this stuff. And I know people that just had like below average grades, but having the best internships you could possibly think of, and now they're in great positions and network and know all these people.
Exactly.
So it's like those small things
networking.
matter.
Yeah, and the small things aren't small things.
Exactly.
Right?
They all add up.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, this is great. I'm hoping parents that as you're listening to this, you're thinking about your own kid and you're thinking about not just like NIL and how to pimp them out, right? And how to make, we're not about that. But maybe your kid has that passion. Maybe there is something really unique. Maybe your kid is into like fencing or something off the grid.
Yeah.
Maybe fly fishing and they make their own flies. And whatever it is, social media has a way to leverage that. Do parents think that their kid is going to make thousands if they get endorsements?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that and tell us the reality of that.
Yeah. So unless you go to Duke or like big time Division I schools, most of these brand deals are going to be, hey, you get something for free. Maybe you get a couple bucks for gas, or maybe if you're even lucky, you can go up to maybe like $1,000-ish. But that's like if you're super, super lucky. But it's, hey, using those experiences for life after sports that are more important, really.
So let's say that again, because that's important. So using these experiences for life after sports, like making those connections, doing
Exactly.
the networking, getting that internship.
Exactly. So like maybe too, it's, hey, I want to work with this brand and do marketing because I'm interested in doing marketing. But instead of asking for $500 or whatever it is, just be like, hey, I want an internship with you guys and I'll do X, Y, Z. And maybe after that, you put down your resume and they hire you or someone else sees it. Then better to get a job than a couple $100.
Right. More valuable than
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our whole podcast premise is I wish I knew then what I know now. And I feel like the world has moved so quickly on us with technology that we're still trying to keep up. And with NIL and with the collective, have we reached that tipping point yet? Do you think it's going to change with college athletics? And we will have a whole series on this because that is like the Wild West.
Yeah.
And it's changing the way high school athletes are applying to college because I want to say like 10, 15 years ago, we had that fantasy that we could walk on to a team. Like, you can't walk on anymore, right? Because there's the trading and there's, what do they call that? There's a whole...
The portal. Transfer portal.
The transfer portal. Kids are going to Junco now. Do you know Junco is not just a bird that shows up in New Jersey in the winter? It's actually an acronym for junior college. So kids are going to junior college now. They're going away to junior college to play football. Whereas like junior colleges back in our day was a community college and you commuted there and you didn't even get your fake ID yet because there was no social vibe there yet. Like, it is completely different now. So, So it's really changed it up for our high school athletes, but I don't know if parents understand that, because I know I still work with parents who have these fantasies of, well, we're still waiting for, Notre Dame. We have talks about Notre Dame having a spot for us on the roster for walk-on. I'm like, no, you don't.
No way.
But if someone's telling you that, they're really jerking your chain.
Absolutely.
I just don't. I don't see with the collect. There's so much business and money being thrown around. If your kid doesn't have an advocate, I feel like the high school kids need to have an advocate.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason why it's the wild, wild west, because the education really isn't there. Now in colleges, this is the first group of kids that have gone through high school and they're like, hey, I should maybe make a brand. But it hasn't clicked with the parents yet. I think in the next couple of years, the parents are now going to be on board with everything and want to be involved. Just like the same way they hire 10,000 trainers, AAU coaches, and all this. I think now they're going to realize they have to add this component to it if they want to take athletics serious.
I have a quick question regarding NIL. Are you or are schools ever requiring an NIL lawyer to be present during this whole process, or is this something? Okay.
No, honestly they probably don't want it, because they probably just want you to sign as quickly as possible, and that's when you see problems, when you just sign and don't really know what you're signing, and they kind of take advantage of you a little bit.
Okay.
And that signing of the contract is they're getting the students, the 18-year-old is receiving money, which means that's income, which means they have to pay taxes on it as well. I'm curious how that's going.
Yeah,
because I'm sure
that's
IRS
a whole mess.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who's advocating for these kids? What 18-year-old has an accountant?
Exactly.
Right.
None.
Right.
But they need legal and financial representation. So
if you spend, say, a couple of grand and you spend all the money you receive, eventually you're going to have to pay something back to Uncle Sam.
Right. You can't write off loss. I mean, you could write off some losses, but how many losses is a,
is a chain or
a different kind of loss. Oh my gosh. I had it. It's gone. I was thinking about the kids, and I was thinking about just how vulnerable they are, with being part of this system that sounds so exciting. I'm curious, the nerd in me, right? The nerd in me is like, are they getting quality education? So from your side of the desk, and I don't follow this much, and I probably should, but how about the kids who are getting recruited to play basketball? And I mean, we were talking about March Madness earlier.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, in college admissions, parents, please just a quick second here. When you have your Sweet 16 brackets and you have these schools in these brackets, during the admission cycle, applications are through the roof because it is such great advertising for these schools. So if your kid is interested in applying to any one of those schools that is in any of those Sweet 16 brackets, just know you can't even look at the admissions numbers from the cycle before, because they're going to be up. The admissions are going to be lower, with applications are going to be higher. So FYI on that one.
With the recent upset, right, with one of the schools where on the spot they fired their head coach for football. I won't say which school.
Okay.
And a new one walked on, I think the next week or something. And in joking around, some of the people in my school were saying now is the time you should apply to this school, because the popularity had dropped. But it is true. You do
absolutely.
have to kind of keep your eye on that, right?
Oh yeah, I was curious. There was a school back in the day, and I'm not going to say the name of the school. Don't say it, Chris, because you're going to know who it is.
Got you.
It was when you were in high school, actually.
Oh, really?
It was a school that's very close by. That's a big state school, and there was a coach that had some dirty deeds throughout several years. And my prediction was that Tara's writing it down. Yes, Tara's so cute. She's spelling it out right now. I'm like, that's the one, Tara. Yes, that we will not say out loud. But that school, I was like, oh, I thought, oh, I bet the applications are going to go down. Impacted 0.
Yeah, crazy,
That's
right?
true.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Even
So-
like a couple years ago, they're like really, really well known all over the place, and
Yes.
like every kid wants to go there.
Yes, and they're still killing it with their admissions. So in any event, but parents, please pay attention to those. And I will watch and I will see who's where, because when a student or a client is going to apply to that school and they have just the average median numbers on their stats for admissions, and I know that they were part of the Sweet 16, they ain't getting in.
Yeah.
They ain't getting in unless they're like the, tuba player with 2 left feet who has certain demographics that are coveted. They're not getting in. So anyway, but we digress. But let's get back to helping our kids and our parents understand how name, image, and likeness. Are there any other ways it could help? Because we're going to pivot to how could it be dangerous? How could it be hurtful to the kids? So let's stay positive. Let's keep positive.
Yeah.
We could make some money. We could leverage. We could network. We can get internships.
Exactly.
Do we cover everything with all the pluses?
Yeah, I think so for the most point, because this is like best time than ever before for an athlete to use their platform to do whatever they want to do with it. And now there's so many options. I was talking to one person, and he strictly just does franchises with athletes, and now he's doing a lot more with college athletes, because they come out, they have X amount of money, and now they can open a Ben & Jerry's or open, I don't know, whatever company,
They have
and
a little pocket
something,
change
exactly.
to
And
invest.
like I think a lot more athletes especially are trying to be like entrepreneurs now and like open their own businesses. So it's just a great opportunity to use their money that they made to do whatever they really want to do, whatever they're passionate about.
I'm wondering if they're finishing their degrees.
Oh, that's a big one. With the transfer portal and all that, we can go on for
Seriously.
so long.
Like,
but yeah,
how do you
absolutely.
how do you convince a kid who's 20 years old, who has $2 million in the bank, that they need to stick to another?
Exactly.
I was going to say 2 years, like as if kids are graduating in 4 years.
Yeah.
The national graduation rate is 60% over 6 years.
Okay.
Right. So that's like kids are finishing high school, then they're taking 6 years to finish a bachelor's degree, and only 60% are actually making it across the finish line. I'm curious. Well, it's probably not a very popular stat. I probably shouldn't even say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. How many of our recruited athletes who are getting money to play sports are actually crossing the finish line?
Yeah.
And then what does the finish line look like? Some like mystery degree? Is it a mystery degree?
Yeah,
like, I
exactly.
think you and I were having that
Yeah,
conversation where you were talking to one of your some player,
Yeah.
and you were coaching. We won't say where,
Yeah.
but it was at the college level, right? And you asked the kid what the major was.
He had no clue.
He had no clue. He had no clue what his major. Tara's face. Really?
Yeah.
Tell Tara the story, just but without the school's name.
Yeah. So it's just like in practice, just trying to BS with some of the players and just asking, oh, where you're from, this and that. And like just ask the kid, oh, what's your major? It's like, I don't know.
Wow.
I was like,
I know.
maybe he's trying to mess with me, hopefully, or
Yeah.
something.
And
But
what year was he? Or is he like he wasn't a senior,
There's
was
no
he?
years anymore.
No. Okay,
no,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in and they're playing.
Yeah, age doesn't matter. Now you can be 26, 27, 28 and be a freshman if you really want to.
Yeah.
Now that's the crazy part too. That's like a whole nother thing you can kind of get into with the age of all these guys, because now that kind of hurts for recruiting. And that's why so many kids are going JUCO, because some schools are only like, hey, we want guys that have played college sports before. So that 18-year-old has to go play JUCO or go play somewhere else and then transfer. And then once you transfer, it's, hey, do the credits go with you or not? And then that
Right,
turns
and the
into
clock
a thing.
can reset, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
For eligibility.
Yeah, so like the JUCO argument is kind of like playing in court right now. But if you go D3, D2, D1, you start playing, that clock, that's it, that's going. You only get 4 or 5 years, depending on if you redshirt or not. Then, yeah, you can sue for more time now or not, or it gets
That's
kind
amazing.
of crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
it
just
is.
thinking you're a mother of a daughter. Could you imagine, like, freshman English,
Yeah.
and there's your daughter in class, and again, she looks like Bridget Bardot. Her daughter's beautiful, and there's like some 26-year-old freshman next to her, like, hey, can you help me with this essay?
Oh, man.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
new fear unlocked.
Yes.
Totally.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Awesome. So we're kind of like tiptoeing our way to the dark side of this, which is naturally something that we want to warn parents about. I don't have any trouble having difficult conversations with parents, and I think that's why they either love me or hate me. And I read a lot of Brene Brown, and she says, often being kind is cruel.
Yeah.
So when it comes to having hard conversations about a kid who thinks he could walk onto a team or she could walk onto a team, and we're talking about D1 and we're talking about a school that, just won a national championship.
Yeah.
She's not walking on. She's not walking onto volleyball. She's not walking on. And we need to think about pivoting. And there's a whole grief process involved too, because now it's an athlete who's coming to terms with something that's no longer going to happen, and it's not going to look the same. And it's parents grieving through the whole idea, like, wow, we've been playing travel since we're 9 years old, and we went to Cooperstown and we did this and we did that, and
Absolutely.
now we're done.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there, and
absolutely.
As a counselor, it's like, let's talk about grief, right?
Yeah.
But having hard conversations is one thing. So what are some other hard conversations that we need to have?
That, especially the contract wise, it's like, please make sure you read it.
Read this. He's such a lawyer, Chris. I love this. This is why we have, when we're talking about this stuff, we have a lawyer here, because it is a contract, it is legal, and it's binding. And of course, every contract can be broken, but there'll be penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the things that parents need to know about the contracts?
So on my LinkedIn, I have like one article, lists
Your
like
LinkedIn,
9
by
things.
the way,
Thank you.
parents, Chris Davanzo, D''Avanzo, Chris Davanzo, attorney at law, has an incredible LinkedIn. I fangirl over it all the time. I read it. I subscribe to your newsletters.
Thank
They're
you.
outstanding.
Thank you.
So please, parents, if there is anything that is piquing your interest in this, look up Chris Davanzo on LinkedIn, and everything that we've talked about, he's covered in his posts, in his research, in his shorts, in his podcast, a wealth of information. Sorry,
Thank
Chris,
you.
go on. So
Thank
back
you.
to the
Appreciate
contracts.
that.
Oh, please.
In one of my newsletters, I have 9 different things to look for in a contract. And exclusivity, like you can only go to that coffee shop. You can't get deals with any other coffee shops. And maybe that's your thing. Maybe you're like the coffee person. But now you can only go with one. You can't branch out to other people. So that kind of hurts you in the end. And I've seen too with a lot of agencies, if you sign, they want you to, or they'll put stuff in the contract where, hey, if you don't tell them that, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore, they're just going to keep going. That contract's just going to renew and...
Oh, like a renew? Like my HBO Max subscription?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, so you're not careful.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I've seen another thing in the contract. It was, hey, if we ever mention a deal with you, if you leave us, you can't go back and get that deal, which is kind of messed up because, hey, if they put it in front of you on a bunch of deals and they just mention it to you and they have proof of that, then you're kind of screwed that way too.
And what about the non-disclosure? Is there anything where if you do sign with, say Nike or something, whatever the company is, and then is there anything ever where you have to wait so many years before you can then go?
Oh, the non-compete?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, non-compete.
I haven't seen too much with that, but you never know. You might start seeing that because in some contracts, especially with schools, you can see now, hey, if you transfer, you owe us X amount of money. Or if you get hurt, which the getting hurt part is pretty crazy, but if you get hurt, hey, maybe you have to pay us X amount of money back.
Oh,
yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insult
really
to
bad.
injury,
Yeah.
literally.
And if you don't have
one thing, maybe breaking the contract or the contract is null and void at that point, but to say you owe us money,
it's crazy.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Chris, you have opened our eyes to this whole new world, and we are just so appreciative of all the information, all of your robust experience. You are NIL in motion. NIL in motion. Is that where we can find you online?
Absolutely. Yeah. All my handles are that on
Okay.
pretty much every social media thing you could possibly think of. And like you said before, big on LinkedIn. So that's
Big on
perfect
LinkedIn.
spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really would start with LinkedIn if you want to get the information. It's very well organized and it's just spelled out beautifully where you could understand it. So, so thank you for reviewing all the different ways that our kids can, for good or for bad, kind of leverage social media, thinking about branding and thinking this is a whole new world. And we just scratch the surface.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So we do appreciate having you today. We will wrap up. We could talk to you all day.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for being in our
Appreciate
studio
it.
today, Chris.
Yeah, this was awesome.
This was great. And again, NIL in motion. Chris Devanzo, thank you. I am Tracy Amadeo.
And Tara Horitz.
And this is from Carpool to College. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, we'd love for you to be a part of our growing community. Please share and follow our show. For those who want to support us further, join our Patreon site. Your support helps us create high-quality content and great episodes. Plus, our Patreon members get exclusive perks like bonus episodes, early access, and behind-the-scenes content that we think you're just going to love.
And now for some legal stuff. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational entertainment purposes only and is provided as is with no guarantee of accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or outcomes. I could keep going, but I will spare you and I will post this entire legal disclaimer on our website, www.academicmentoringllc.com under podcast. Tara and I are so glad you joined us today on From Carpool to College. See you next time. Something like that.
Yeah.
Done?
That's good.
Okay, Chris, make that pretty, please. Pretty, please. Make it pretty, please.
I am from the class of 2030. I've come back.